This is the Voice of the Land podcast with your hosts, Kevan Arnold and Nick Paulus.
Here we go, Brownies, here we go. Hoo, hoo. Here we go, Brownies, here we go. Hoo, hoo. Here we go, Brownies, here we go. Hoo, hoo. It doesn't matter who was on that field today. It doesn't matter if anyone wants to hate on the Browns, hate on anything that happened today. It doesn't even matter what happened in my fantasy leagues, anything else in life. For the first time since 2002, and only for the third time since 1989, we get to say our Cleveland Browns are playoff bound. Boy, you gotta love that sound. And welcome to what is going to be an epic episode of the Voice of the Land here as part of the Big Play Network, also partnered with web streaming studio by LPV Productions. I am your host, Kevan Arnold. Alongside me, as always, my Browns big fan brother, Nick Paulus.
Woo!
He's feeling good. I know our producer extraordinaire behind the proverbial glass, Peter Tellup, is feeling good as well. And we are ready to roll. Of course, we are sponsored by DP Construction LLC. Gonna run this stuff off right off the top. I know our buddy Tyler LaFrada, who got to go to that game today, is riding high. He is probably joining us tonight too. But reach out to him and Uncle Steve for all your concrete construction needs. They are Browns fans. They're gonna do right by you. Give them a call, 330-217-4999. That's 330-217-4999. Hit up Tyler at his email, tylerlafrada@gmail.com as well. Like them on Facebook. Look at all the beautiful pictures. Get a quote there. Message them on Facebook at DP Construction LLC. They will do right by you, like I said. And I know that they are ecstatic that the Browns are in the playoffs. Of course, you can follow us as you're watching probably live on our Twitter at VTL_pod. Same handle on Twitter. Find us on Facebook at Voice of the Land and on YouTube at Voice of the Land Podcast. You can always watch us live as well on Big Play's Facebook page and their YouTube channel at Big Play Live and on the Sportscaster app. You want our Twitter handles and all of that, they're down below. Our names are going to pop up. Don't worry. We need to get into all of this today because we are jacked up. You want to listen back to all of this and ride this high all week long, then you can watch us on all those platforms on the replay or tune into the audio. Blow out your eardrums all day long on Google, Spotify, and Apple, where the audio always gets posted as soon as we're done. But like I said, this is going to be one hell of a show. The Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-22, stamping their claim to one of those 7 playoff spots in the AFC. And we're just going to run it right back in Pittsburgh next week. Not worried about that right now. It's Victory Sunday night. It's going to be a Victory Monday. It's enjoying the playoffs. Paulus, buddy, I know. Let the people know where you're at right now.
Dude, I am through the roof. We had even talked about this, a couple weeks back. I declared them playoff bound, I think 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
A little early. I was just early to the party. I was ahead of the curve. I have goosebumps on top of goosebumps. It's hard for me to talk right now, honestly. It's so tough for me to talk right now because I just want to throw this out there. I may have had the greatest weekend of all time. God's honest truth. I may have. Friday night, obviously, Ohio State, we'll get to it, guys. Buckeye Nation, we will get to it. Don't you worry. Screw you, Dabo. But we're going to get to that. So obviously that goes crazy. My first ever opportunity to do a co-host shift at ESPN Cleveland was Saturday. My sister had her baby.
Oh, congrats!
Thank you. And then the Browns
Let them know.
It's so much in one weekend. And then the Browns. It's honestly one of the greatest weekends of my life. It's just, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
No, it's just so much has been put into this, and it's not like I played. It's nothing like that. I just tissues are coming. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's we're good. Yeah, we're sponsored by Willow. So no, but seriously, this is the 18 years, and just the opportunity arose, and they stepped up. Was it crazy? Yeah. Did it get a little squirrely towards the end? A ball, an onside kick is what it came down to. Baker then, rushing, of all people to run and get a first down to end the game, you go with Baker Mayfield. A designed Baker Mayfield run play. Who saw that coming? Only Kevin Stefanski, only the coach of the year does something like that. And I don't know how long we'll be in the playoffs. We obviously we play Pittsburgh again next week, and they're going to have everyone there. So we better buckle up and play our A game. But I'm telling you right now, however long this ride is, it'll never be long enough. If we win the Super Bowl, it won't be long enough. I want another game after that, and another one, and another one. It's a lot, man, and I know you're feeling it too.
I'm feeling it. I really am. Peter, you've experienced the history of the Browns a lot longer. I mentioned it from the top that this is the third playoff appearance for the Browns since 1989. They have 94, 2002, and now. And, of course, only the second time this team has made the playoffs in the expansion era since 1999. You've seen a lot more of this. You've had family members go through this. You've been a Cleveland fan even longer than we have. Just give us a sense of where your mind is at, how you're feeling today before we get into breaking everything down.
So if the viewers at home couldn't tell, what Kevin's saying is that I'm old. So
he's open about it, though. We all know.
I'm the gray-haired guy in the middle.
That's right. Yeah.
But honestly, to me, I'm still kind of, beside myself. Like, it doesn't feel quite real. I'm trying I'm trying to enjoy the moment.
Of course.
Not look too far ahead to next week, because I know that's going to be a tough game. Hopefully we have everyone back that we can get back.
Yeah.
But I think the Browns have a chance there. But yeah, to me, this whole season's just been kind of surreal, because with COVID, no preseason, no real practices, a new coach, new offense. I think we said at the beginning of the season, like, hey, we were hoping for a winning season. I think, cause I always joke, Browns fans, 6-10 is a winning season, for Browns fans. And, the fact that we're sitting here and, going to the playoffs, going to be a wild card, did we clinch the division? No, but we were close. We actually had a shot at actually taking the division, which, if you would have told me that back in like August or September, I would have thought you were crazy. And it's, I think it'll probably hit me a little bit more later when I kind of stop and,
for sure,
really think about it.
Yeah.
But right now I'm excited. Of course, it comes down to onside kick. You gotta give me heart palpitations. So Browns gotta stop doing that to these old fans.
To all of the fans, they need to stop doing that. Just put away teams early. Let's just do that.
Yes,
guys.
that would be great.
Nothing given. Everything is earned in this town.
LeBron wasn't lying.
LeBron was not lying. There's a reason why, again, as cliche as it sounds, we said it, we've talked about that saying a few times on this show. As cliche as it may sound, it is so fitting for a town, a football town like Cleveland, Ohio, and a sports town that is so loyal to all of our teams like Cleveland, Ohio. Nothing given. everything earned, no matter who was on that field for the Steelers today and who's coming back next week. You worry about that plan for those players leading into next week.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. The Browns have had to miss players. They've had to miss practices. They've had to miss meetings because of COVID-19, and I know other teams have too. But the Browns earned their playoff spot today. You can listen to, if you want to listen to the national guys tomorrow, and the ones that are still going to downplay it, still be negative, don't buy in. It doesn't matter. We're in the dance, and now we got a chance, and we're ready for this moment. Peter, you talked about how it hasn't set in for you yet, and I was kind of telling the story a little bit. I'll tell it now on air, how after the game, I was excited, hugged my girlfriend. We were kind of crying, but like there was this excited numbness.
Okay.
Not knowing how to feel, because Paulus, you and I had our history. We haven't gotten to see good football. We were young kids in 94, didn't really understand our sports fandom yet until they really came back, and we've only seen one other playoff appearance. And yet we have been brought up to be Browns fans, to be the part of this loyal fan base. But to know how it feels, didn't have it yet. And I guess it didn't sink in. Then my sister calls me from Seattle, the Seahawks fan, but still has a love for this town. And then starts talking about, brother, I'm so excited that you get to witness this. And I'm, what if the Seahawks and the Browns meet? I was like, one thing at a time, please. One thing at a time. And she's got her whole, her and her fiance, her in-laws, they're all gathered around, and I just start bawling as soon as she mentions our grandfather.
Yeah.
94 years old, World War II veteran. Grandpa, I know you may not be watching right now, but any of my family members, if you're seeing this right now, please show him. Because he is the reason that I am the Cleveland fan that I am today. The reason I have the passion that I do today. And to be able to know that he gets a moment like that, got a moment like the 2016 NBA championship, has had moments of the past, the 1948 Indians and all that, but now to have all of this long drought for all these teams and for the Browns to still be able to have those moments. And Grandma, I'm looking up to the heavens to you because you were a part of this too. I love you, and thank you so much for bringing me up this way, because I wouldn't want it any other way. But to be a Cleveland fan, but to be a Browns fan, because this moment means a lot. And I could hear her in-laws and my sister's in-laws and everything saying, oh, like, it's I'm so happy for you guys, and I know what it feels like, and I don't know, like I cried so much, and I want to congratulate you, Paulus, and to your family on the birth of a new niece, and congratulations, City of Cleveland, but we're not done. Jarvis Landry, who was part of this and one of the staples, if not the staple, to start the culture change in this town, the leader, tweeted out after the game the Mamba mentality video. Mamba in the finals, Kobe Bryant being asked, why aren't you happy that you're up 2-0? Because you haven't done anything yet. This team is not just talking about just getting there. You heard Coach, if you watched the video after, I got goosebumps watching Coach Stefanski.
Oh my God. Him and Bitonio.
Oh, yeah. And Jimmy Haslam, as much crap as we have given the owners over the years, they have gotten it right. They have been working behind the scenes to do this. I got goosebumps watching that.
Yeah.
But you see all the players still standing and paying attention to the coach, not jumping up and down and getting in the way of what he's trying to say. He's saying, you got more? Yes, sir. Is this enough? No, sir. Did we talk about just making the playoffs? No, sir. It's more than that. Jarvis and Baker have talked about more than that. But this is a moment we have waited for a long time. And boy, it feels so good.
Right.
I don't
You
know.
feel spent. And
Yeah.
and it's not like we even played in the game,
No.
once again. I'm just I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Ricky Bobby. Like I don't know how.
know
I don't
what to do with my
right. I don't know
hands.
what to do with my hands. I don't know how to talk right now. Like we're all over the place. And I'm sorry, for the listeners out there, especially for the listeners that are going to go back and listen to it on the podcast. And they can't see our reactions. That being said, your grandpa, your grandma up in heaven. I mean, like everything is. It's unbelievable, and I mean you handled that a lot better than I did. So
Trust me, like I think that the water wells may be a little
little
dry. Trust me, I love the setup that we have here.
Yeah.
These lights that are on us to make us look good, so we don't break the cameras. Especially me,
better than we normally do.
better than we normally do. My eyes are burning from already crying so much.
Yeah.
These lights, I'm like.
Yeah,
if I look
straight
like
up,
if
right.
I look wide open, it's not just because I'm a crazy person. I might be crazy. I'm just trying to keep my eyes open so I don't look like a weirdo on here with like.
No, I feel you. I really do. But let's hop into this game. Let's talk about it. I mean, we know how we feel about it. I mean, obviously Uber Browns fans, but we're gonna bring a dose of reality whenever it comes down to it. The one thing that I gotta ask you, okay, now it was a great overall game, great performance by a lot of players out there. I mean, you're looking at Chubb goes over 1,000 yards on the season, has 108 yards today. I know Kareem Hunt only had 37 yards in 10 attempts, but I mean, talk about a guy that is just like a bruiser. He gets hit every single time. Like
had that block on that Baker
had the
on that last play.
amazing block, and Baker gave him a shout out. I was cutting it up, and Baker was like, "I heard those pads." like I heard him hit. It sounded like a collision. There for us. Baker played really well. The stats won't go and like, oh my God, he threw for 500 or anything like that. 17 and 27 for 196, touchdown, no turnovers. Biggest stat of the night right there is no turnovers. Timely. I would say he was timely, and he used his legs
44 yards
a lot, and he picked up 4 first downs there for us, including the game winner. This is a special game, but I know we have victory Sunday night, victory Monday, and then we're on to the Steelers again.
I guess after Stefanski has that drink as big as was Jason Lloyd's head.
I think it was Jason Lloyd's head.
As big as Jason Lloyd's head. He'll be on to them by midnight tonight, probably.
Without a doubt, maybe 11:30. So, but no, I really can't wait for what's going to be happening. But breaking down this game. Where were you concerned? Are you like, what's your level of concern going into next week?
It's the secondary.
Yeah.
The concern is the secondary, and it's going to, I guess, one element that could help or hurt that is when the game is, because Denzel Ward tested positive. If the game is on Sunday, he would have enough days to prove that he can play out of NFL COVID protocols.
Right.
If it's on Saturday, he's automatically out. We talked before we came on saying we hope it's on Sunday. So even if he may unfortunately test positive and he doesn't fit the protocols that way.
Yeah. At least you gave him a shot.
You gave him a chance.
Yeah.
The league doesn't determine it before he even has a chance to try to play.
And I'm not going to hide from the comments that I said earlier. Like, I will fight you, Roger Goodell. If you schedule this for Saturday and don't even give us, the opportunity to have Denzel on the team, like, there's going to be things going down, okay? Because it is ridiculous that the NFL would dictate, like, whenever it's a 3-game set, and it doesn't matter, like, honestly, it doesn't really matter where it is at that moment in time. Now, if Denzel can't qualify because he still has COVID or still tests positive or anything like that, I understand. And even throughout this week, as much as it would suck, if someone else tested positive, we're knocking on wood right there. We're hoping that doesn't happen. Hopefully it's a clean week. I mean, literally put everyone in a bubble, because like I don't even want to think about that. But if that were the case, then that happens. That stuff happens. But Denzel has an opportunity to play on Sunday and not Saturday. You have to make this right, NFL. Like, I understand the COVID rules, and we understand more than anybody else, okay? Give us an opportunity to have one of our best players. I told you before this, Myles Garrett, without a doubt, is the Browns' most talented best player on the team, especially on the defense. Nick Chubb might be our most important offensive player, but the guy that can win you the playoffs, okay, and get us to where we want to go is Denzel Ward. Denzel, if he's healthy and not injured, which he's not injured right now, it's just the COVID, he is the lockdown. Think of, and I'm not saying he is Richard Sherman of 2012, of Seattle of 2012, but he is Richard Sherman-esque one-on-one. A lockdown, take away half the field. You can only focus on that. And it gives Myles opportunities to go and sack him. Adrian Claiborne, now, pray to God. And who would have thought this 3 months ago? Hopefully Olivier Vernon's okay.
Yeah.
And obviously we don't wish bad upon anybody, but Olivier, I mean, we're worried about your ankle, bro. Good juju over to you, man. That, I really am concerned about Olivier missing that game. And if we're down a solid guy like Olivier has been over the last 8 weeks, that would hurt. That would hurt bad.
And OV has been playing so
out
well.
of his mind.
Myles has been struggling with COVID and being able to play the whole time. They've still been kind of managing his minutes.
Yeah.
I forget.
He had a couple of really solid moves today.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to hit Mason a couple more times, which before I throw it to you, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place right now. But I am glad that Mason and Myles put it to rest. They were cool. They complimented each other. Myles actually threw out there, or I'm sorry, not Myles. Mason was like, "Hey, overpower, overcome," or something like that on Instagram. So a good little shot of those two. And then Myles after the game told him, he was like, "Hey man, great game." He had over 315 yards. Fantastic game for you, man. I'm a hater of him. I don't like Mason Rudolph at all, but solid game, bro. And Myles acknowledged that. So let's just put that to bed forever. This is over.
Done with.
Done. Finito. Done.
Don't need it as part of the highlight package going into the game next week, as part of the lead up. It's been squashed. Different player going to be at quarterback. The same player that we've seen for a lot of years is going to be back at quarterback next week. All of that is done. Yeah, he had a great day, and kudos to him. He took advantage of a depleted secondary who, while they were all over these guys, they're still allowing themselves to get boxed out. Claypool's going to make plays. Juju, Deontay Johnson, who's been questioned about his drops and all of that, he was on his game today. So while Denzel Ward coming back would help and shut down one part of the field, you still got other guys to worry about. The advantage, if Denzel is able to come back to help this secondary, is by shutting down half the field. It puts other guys that aren't as good, it raises their level because they don't have as big of responsibilities. It's kind of what happened with Joe Hayden going to the Steelers. While he has played well for them, he wasn't able to stay on the field for the Browns. Best ability is your availability.
And look at him now. He's career year for Joe. He's been playing unreal. He should have been a Pro Bowler.
Because with all of those other guys, with Minka behind him, they've definitely improved their secondary, the responsibility isn't on him like it's on Denzel to be that best cornerback. Hayden can just be that playmaker. Yeah. And he can just focus on that. So I loved Joe Hayden when he was here. He gave it his all, and that's, he played all out, and that was part of the injury realm for him too. But you gotta love a guy that's willing to give up his whole body and his whole season or career for you every single play, because that responsibility was on them. When it comes off, Joe Hayden has now been able to just become that playmaker he was at Florida. For the rest of these cornerbacks that, they're not at the level of Denzel Ward. They can play a lot better when their responsibilities aren't as high, and you don't feel like you're picking on a guy, you can put guys in proper spots for them to be successful in your defense and actually come up with a game plan. So hopefully the NFL doesn't take it out of Denzel's hands to try to come back. But it's that secondary that concerns me most. Peter, love to hear what concerns you most going like from what you saw today to next week.
Well, honestly, the secondary honestly concerns me because the cover just didn't seem to be there where it needed to be at times. There were a lot of deep balls that I'm trying to remember the exact sequence of downs, but it was like a 4th and 10. It was a you held them, and then they pick up 13.
Okay.
It was just the coverage just wasn't as tight. I think Denzel Ward being back would, mitigate that.
Sure.
But we've had issues in the secondary the whole time. I mean, 23 is not there, so we.
That's true. Yes, Sendeo is not there.
All right, prayers to him though, because he's dealing with COVID.
Prayers to him.
So
I just had to get
Had
that
to
in there
throw
to
the
get,
shot out.
Yeah.
I had to get
I'm
that.
surprised.
We're in the play. Yeah, right.
He
From-
did it.
From all the people, from the three of us, you're the one that threw Sendeo.
I threw that out. I just had to get Kevin's reaction.
That was perfect. Hey, well done.
He looked me dead in because nobody can see Peter. He looks me dead in the eyes, like hoping I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon.
Oh, of course.
I'm the first one to say no.
The guy has COVID. We just made the playoffs.
Yeah,
Peter's like, nope. Thump, thump. There goes the bus.
I mean, at this point, hopefully he can come back too. Like, just give me everybody that you can in that secondary.
We need everyone available. I mean, was it? I think Greedy Williams was it that?
Yeah.
So, okay.
I
I want to know what was. I didn't get to see.
I didn't either.
I didn't see it. I heard it.
I heard it as well.
I heard it that I guess he had tweeted out or something that he was like, "Hey, I'm available."
Keep it going.
Yeah,
hold up. No, keep talking.
So he was saying that from what I heard was that he was available if needed, and that he would be willing to suit up and come play next week if he could.
Yeah, I think he was. I heard texting trainers, and then there was a tweet sent. I don't know if he sent it to kind of give Browns fans hope, or he's sending
So
yeah, you got it on his Twitter.
yeah. So what I got right now is he's congrats on winning. It's time to break the streak, boys. Let's go get a dog check. Let's go, guys. Browns made the playoffs, and then someone hit him up and said, oh, hold on. I just had it. Okay, so let's go. So in response, it goes, Greedy Williams, let's go. He retweeted a Browns thing. Sean King, Kentucky Football 14, asks them, so real popular guy, I'm assuming. Any chance you can make an appearance next weekend?
Yeah.
And then Greedy retweeted him. He goes, I'm trying to pull that blank on. And then he posted a picture or something, or it looked like a little tweet or a text. Yeah. Sent from him, I'm assuming. He said, at this point, I think playing is an option. If you tell me Grady Sizemore comes out of retirement. No, if Greedy Williams comes out of nowhere and plays there's no way it happens. The guy hasn't seen the practice field in a year. There's no way possible that happens. But if it did, and you told me you have Greedy Williams, someone that Ben hasn't played against, you have him, and you tell me Denzel can play, my chances feel like the skyrocket. Because I'm telling you right now, that's the biggest thing about us right now. Because I agree, we're gonna all agree that the secondary obviously is the biggest issue. Now, once again, missing OV out there, that's not going to be a picnic. Means Adrian Claiborne's going to have to step up. We're going to need Porter Gustin. We're going to need a lot of guys that come out of nowhere. Sheldon Richardson. We're going to need all of those guys to step up and play out of their mind in order for us to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, once again, the Pittsburgh Steelers lost 3 in a row. They were on a rough streak. We did beat their backups today. So I don't want to be we beat, we beat Ben. Ben has 24 wins against us.
Yeah.
You know what would be even better than that? 1-0. 1-0 in the playoffs. If you tell me that if Baker Mayfield can go out there and beat Ben Roethlisberger, those 24 wins don't mean a freaking thing to me.
Nope.
Because if we're 1-0 against the Steelers with Baker Mayfield on the field, that changes everything. Like the whole dynamic of the AFC North shifts. The power were to shift to the Browns because that means that you beat them whenever it meant most. You beat them in week 17 in order to get to the playoffs, and if you do beat them in the playoffs and the very next week, everything changes. Everything changes if you can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers first week of the playoffs.
So the Browns are 0-2 against the Steelers in playoff games.
Yeah.
Lost in the divisional round in 1994, and that wild card game, that overtime 36-33 loss in 2003, the 2002 season.
Yeah.
Neither one of those games involved Baker Mayfield versus Ben Roethlisberger.
That's right.
They are both 0-0 against each other in the playoffs. They are 0. Both teams are 0-0 going into the new season.
Hell yeah.
So while we are still going to be realistic and not, talk trash to Steelers fans, may have some fun just with the rivalry.
We're going to have some fun tonight and tomorrow.
Yes.
Victory Monday is a real thing.
Yeah, there's going to be trash talk going back and forth. And Colin Dunlap, one of the hosts in Pittsburgh, has already he tweeted out the picture. He took the picture from Mac Wilson's Twitter.
I saw that.
Of GV Artwork, how they made shirts and Mac Wilson is tied in. He's sponsored with GV or he's tied in with those brothers, and he's getting shirts all the time. So the linebacking core, they were given those shirts, and then they took a picture. That wasn't, I don't know if everyone on the team got one.
Yeah.
I
think everyone did.
They may have, but those were made by, Colin's not looking at the history of it. He
doesn't care.
Right. The Steelers don't need stuff like that because they are used to winning the AFC North and competing for Super Bowl championships. So they don't need those, but it also wasn't a team thing that did it. It's a t-shirt company here in Cleveland that's doing it. So the trash talk and all of that has already started.
Right, and I did just want to throw this out there. I'm glad that you brought up Colin.
Yeah.
Okay, and different Colin than we normally talk about.
Yeah, I guess
is
the name Colin banned on the show, or is
no,
it just, or is it the full name?
Probably should be. Probably should be.
It should be. Yeah.
Every Colin's a douchebag. Probably.
It sounds like it.
That being said, though, Colin Dunlap. I never followed him or anything like that. He is the only person that I have ever blocked on Twitter.
Really?
And I did it today. Because I saw that response.
Yeah.
I saw that response and I know he's a hater, noted hater, okay, of the Browns. He lives in Pittsburgh. He does a radio show in Pittsburgh. That happens, okay? I hate them. He hates us. Fine, whatever. I have never blocked anybody before, and I've seen some hellacious tweets out there.
Yeah.
I normally mute. But to Colin, I was like, you know what? This dude deserves it. I feel like if I were to meet Colin, I just wouldn't like him off the bat. And I give everyone a chance, but I just don't feel like, I'm not looking to I'm not trying to Twitter hate or bully people or, anything like that. I just don't think I would like to be around that guy.
No.
So you know what? I'm not a fan. If he wants to block, more than welcome
Whatever.
to. Yeah. CLE, at CLE_Paulus. Go right ahead, block me.
Whatever.
But for me personally, it just doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect you.
It just seems like a
Dunlap,
just a douche.
Colin Dunlap and Pony Express, that guy that hosts shows in Pittsburgh. Him and Ken Carman go back and forth all the time because they also host.
Okay, so
national,
that guy. Okay, I got you. Okay.
Him and Ken Carman go back and forth. I know that there's going to be audio out there. I know different station, but Ken Carman and him go back and forth, and it's funny stuff.
It's good.
I'm keeping everything clean as much as I can right now.
Good luck.
Because
good luck. I think douchebags is acceptable, but other than that,
But it's I understand the concept of what he's saying because the Browns had T-shirts made for him, but that doesn't mean anything. You just made the playoffs. Guess what, Colin? Baseball teams, all of them get T-shirts. Even if they don't win their division, they still get T-shirts for making the playoffs, even the one-game playoff for that wild card game. So it's not different there. And the fact that you had to tweet about it while you could just inwardly think, oh, we don't need T-shirts because we have that culture that the Browns are now trying to establish. The fact that he had to tweet it out,
Means he's worried.
Means he's worried.
Yeah.
Means that rivalry's alive.
Oh.
And there's going to be trash talk back and forth. But
Oh, yeah.
keeping it real, not going to trash talk because of the guys that we beat out there on the field. But the Browns still earned it. Anyone that wants to say they didn't because they beat the backups on Pittsburgh, you can go shove it. Because the Browns are in the playoffs. The Buckeyes are playing for a national championship. This week at work or anywhere else, you can't tell me. But if you try to, just like Paula said with, who was it? The NFL?
Yeah.
I'll fight you.
Just straight up.
Fighting words. Anything you try to tell me that's negative or anything is fighting words. Because the Browns are back in the playoffs, and we're ready to roll. We're ready to go through a brick wall as fans. And maybe a pump-up speech like I had last week. That might be coming as we wrap up things here. But I do want to talk about going into next week because we know in this game, Browns get out early. Seemed like they tightened up a little bit with the pressure because it's winning in. Pittsburgh didn't have any pressure. They were able to leave guys at home.
Sure.
But they found a way to win. You can't scoff at winning 11 games. Only losing 5, never losing back-to-back games, as close as the game was against Steelers backups. We know everything that the Browns have gone through. They have gone through so much adversity. They don't make excuses. They don't lie down. They learn from their mistakes. They made a mistake last week. They learned from it. They corrected it. Now they get a chance as well. And yeah, you got to run it back against the Steelers. And yeah, it's in Pittsburgh. And you haven't won in 17 trips to there. You haven't won a playoff game since 1994. All of that history on the line. It's all going to be talked about ad nauseum this week. I just want to know, Paulus, break down, I guess, anticipating who could be or not in this game. How do the Browns go to Pittsburgh and prove themselves against the Steelers' best of those guys that will be available to them and a possible guys that will be available to the Browns? How do they get it done?
So this team is, I believe, just double check because I want to make sure that I get this right.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have any turnovers. They did. So we won the turnover battle today, correct?
Correct.
Okay. That makes it 10-0. We are 10-0 on the year whenever we win the turnover battle.
And leading at halftime too, right? Because I think they said we were 9-0 at leading at halftime.
I believe the leading at halftime is correct. So so 10-0 on that as well, I believe. But that's how you beat this team, okay? And the Steelers, and like, you have to attack Ben Roethlisberger. Now, I say all of this, and it's a lot easier to say this instead of actually doing it, because Ben does get the ball out relatively quick. I know a lot of people make it like he gets it out in like a half a second. That's not true, okay? His yards per attempt, I believe, is like 5.5 or something like that. It's not a lot. Okay, so like he does short, quick passes, and with Deontay and Juju and Claypool, that's awesome for those guys. Now, Claypool can beat you. So can Deontay Johnson and Juju. They can all beat you deep, as well as James Washington. They have a really solid wide receiver cast over there. Probably top 3 in the league, top 3 to 5 in the league. Very, very good wide receivers. And Ben's no slouch. We've been ripping on him ever since it started getting cold, and his elbow looks like it got torn up again. We've been ripping on him a little bit since then, but he did find, he's played well this year. Okay. That all being said, you can beat this team by just causing the turnovers, by getting in the lanes. The only way that I believe that we have a chance is if Myles Garrett has his greatest game ever. Okay. Straight, and like I say greatest game ever, and I'm not talking, 3 sacks, 4 sacks, 10 forced fumbles, nothing like that. Like if you can get, a couple of holding calls and just, manhandle that offensive line, okay, get 2 to 3 guys on you and everyone else feasts, that's how we win this game. The only way that you get to them is if you get pressure on Ben, okay? Obviously, once again, you got to win the turnover battle, which is what I'm saying. So that also means on the offensive side, you can't be turning the ball over Baker, okay? That's probably, pick number 2, for me, is you can't be throwing interceptions or fumbling the ball or anything like that. TJ Watt's the real deal.
He is.
I hate that I have to say that, but
we're real.
But we're real here. Okay. We're realists. Okay. TJ Watt's a bad man. He's probably going to win defensive MVP. Okay, defensive player of the year. It's down to him or Aaron Donald. I don't know what Aaron Donald did today, but then since TJ sat, so maybe that overtakes him. But he's very well deserving of that. Okay. Baker, you just can't turn the ball over. That's it. If you just do what you did today, once again, 17 of 27 for 200 yards and a touchdown, that should win the game.
Yes.
Okay. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, the reason why I don't even mention them is because I know we're going to be able to run on them. Okay. The Steelers can't stop the run. So that's just a given. Baker, just don't turn the ball over. Don't throw your very first pass to Minka Fitzpatrick and run it back for a touchdown. That's where it kills you, is turning the ball over. Win the turnover battle. You'll be 11-0 with, win the turnover battle.
Peter, keys that the Browns need, that they need to look for and work on this week in order to, we know they have a chance, but in order to actually take advantage of that opportunity.
Well, I agree with Nick. I mean, I agree with Nick. We have to get pressure on Ben. There's no doubt about that. You can't give up these, fourth down or third and long plays. You can't.
Right.
You have to get the pressure in there. The defensive backs, they have to step up, and don't let them get that 4th and 10. Don't let them get that 11-yard pass or longer. And I agree, turnovers. I mean, you go back and look at the Jets game. I mean, that was painful. And it's funny because you go back a couple weeks, you look at the Giants game, and Jacob and I watched that game. We've been watching all the games, and we sat there and go, "This is a kind of a boring game," because it was just so methodical, and it wasn't. It was kind of a quick game. It felt like, but the Jets game with those 3 turnovers, Baker's 3 fumbles were just
right.
Those you can't do that. You can't do that against the Steelers. I mean, they're too good of a team. They're going to make you pay if you do that.
Agreed.
And, protect the ball and put pressure on Ben. I think if you can do that, then they have a really good shot at winning.
Got to get off the field on 3rd downs, because the Steelers, they're going to keep coming at you, just like they did today. We got up 15, even with Mason Rudolph. Still got their running backs, still had their wide receivers, still able to come back on you. But you had chances to get off the field on 4th down or 3rd down. You're giving up 13, 15-yard first downs. You're giving up touchdowns when they're near midfield. You're giving up deep bombs. Yeah, you got to hope that enough guys can come back. You get as many bodies in that locker room available to you as possible. But you got to get off the field on 3rd down as a defense, and you have to create turnovers. You've seen what this defense looks like when they don't create turnovers. Evan Washburn of CBS, the sideline reporter on today's game, was saying that when he talked to Stefanski coming out of the locker room at halftime, he said, we are going to have to win the turnover battle. We haven't generated turnovers at all recently. We need to get back to being that defense. That's the defense that you need to see. Now, the pressure is going to be on the Steelers, but they've dealt with that pressure before. I know I've heard that a few times on some post-game shows today, that, Browns, you got nothing to lose. Just go out there and let it all hang out. But the Steelers, while they have all the pressure, they have been there before. It is a solidified culture in Pittsburgh. As much as it pains us to say that, it is a solidified culture where the pressure does not make them crack. You are going to have to force them to crack. The pressure of the game may not. The pressure you put on them, the aggressiveness you bring, the physicality that you bring can make any athlete crack. You are going to need to do that. And on the offensive side, and Michael Hill chimes in on Facebook, Baker's got to be more mobile. Can't turn the ball over. Right. Would love to see a few more bootlegs from Baker. I know he's been trying to prove that he can throw from the pocket, and he has at times.
He proved he can run today.
He proved he can run. So, but getting those bootlegs that made that running attack, that balance, that marrying of the pass and run, as they've said all season long, really helped grow that and helped in those play action fakes, getting him outside the pocket a little bit more, Because you got big defensive ends and bringing T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward back into the mix. You saw one of their defensive tackles gets his paw up, he jumps into the screen out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And so you need to change the eye level for Baker to then do what he does, pick apart that defense in moments, go off your run game. So get off the field on third down, win the turnover battle, and Baker, just do what you have done this second half of the season, and you will be right there and can beat this team. Everyone's going to tell you you can't. Everyone will tell you you can't. Trust me, you can. And Baker, I know, should be watching that first throw in that Steelers game in Pittsburgh on repeat. He wanted to correct the fumbles from last week, correct the turnovers that you had that created that big loss in Baltimore and the big loss in Pittsburgh.
All right, so before we wrap it up, last thing here for us before we, head to Ohio State, because we're going to talk about that.
We
can't wait to talk about that. I want to know, because if we don't win, okay, like I don't even want to think about that.
I don't either, but I
do want to think about if we do win. Okay, just to think about it. Okay, if we we can do that. But if we were to win, what would that playoff win, beating the Steelers, mean to you? Like you and I both were, I cried, and you cried beforehand, but
my eyes are still burning.
Right, exactly. But what would that mean to you?
It would mean everything.
Yeah,
because the Browns, again, have not won a playoff game since 1994.
Sure.
But they won that wild card game against New England. Their last 2 losses in the playoffs have come to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right. You have been dragged through the mud since 1999 by the Pittsburgh Steelers. It seems like every big moment this organization has, from the opening game to now trying to make the playoffs today, somehow always goes through the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The road always goes through Pittsburgh. Correct.
And whether people on that side of the rivalry see it as a rivalry or not, we do, and we always will. We look across at that black and gold. We puke. We hate it. We can't stand it.
Yeah.
You go into Heinz Field, beat the AFC North champions in a win-or-go-home scenario.
Yeah.
You solidify your culture that you're building this season, and you bring confidence, belief, that just goes up exponentially in that locker room. And you want to say you get in the dance, you got a chance, you win that game. Boy, what that does to everyone in that locker room. It would mean the world to me. It would mean the world to my family and Browns fans everywhere. What would it mean to you?
I mean, we talk about culture all the time, especially on the show. We talk about, culture being changed or having that set up for us. And Jarvis spoke a lot about it in post game here for us. That would be not just a culture here in Cleveland mindset. I think that it would be the changing of the guard.
Yes.
Because don't get me wrong, Baltimore has a phenomenal young quarterback. Their offense is solid. And their run game is legit. Okay, they got a couple of solid wide receivers there. They need a couple more. Great tight ends. Defense is always solid there in Baltimore. The defense in Pittsburgh is always great, but Ben is old, and they still need to find a quarterback to exchange out, because obviously Mason, even with a great game today, he's not the answer. And I know every Steelers fan agrees with that.
Right.
Okay. I think it would be the changing of the guard. Now, not to say we're going to win the next 10 or we're going to be the next Patriots or anything ridiculous like that. Nothing ever like that will ever happen again in the NFL. It just doesn't happen. Okay. Patriots, going on a run or, 6 Super Bowls, whatever, anything like that. But I'm telling you right now, we have a young enough team, a young enough coach, a young enough quarterback, just in general, that if you can get past Pittsburgh next week, you are looking at a championship level run over the next probably 5 to 7 years. And once again, your quarterback's still young. So like you just got to keep adding people to that. You have to draft well. You have to bring in free agents. You have to do all the necessary things, but you are young enough to be able to do that and set yourself up for the future. Dan Orlovsky on Get Up talked about it this week. You found your quarterback and you found your coach. The two things that you've been missing for 20 years, you found those this year. That sets you up beautifully for the future. And for me personally, if you beat the Steelers next week, it changes the dynamic of the AFC North for the next 5 to 7 years at least.
Because you talk about changing the guard. While Baltimore has Lamar Jackson and all those young, talented players, as good as their season was last year, they didn't answer the bell when it came to playoff time.
Correct.
And I know that they've won games against the Steelers and Big Ben, but in the playoffs, you do it there.
That's why it's a culture. That's why everything changes.
Browns were 0-2 against the Ravens this year.
Correct.
But you beat this if you beat the Steelers on the road in a wild card game, win or go home scenario, you take a lot of the proverbial monkeys off your back.
Yeah.
And the confidence that rides through the veins of every single Browns player and players out there that may be looking or being pursued as a free agent, that just infuses so much confidence, so much enthusiasm, and infuses a culture that can be sustained for a long period of time and not just be a flash in the pan, like missing the playoffs but being 10-6 in 2007 was.
Right.
This has flash in the pan, first year excitement with long-term sustained success to be built towards, all wrapped up under one fine bow. And it is a beautiful thing to talk about as a Cleveland Browns fan to have that. Now, you got to go out there and win. We're not saying they're not going to.
Yeah.
This is what a game like that, even the first game of the playoffs, could mean. And it's that important. Peter, could it be the changing of the guard?
I think so. I think if they can go into Pittsburgh and win, I think that's going to cement the culture change. And that's what we need. So, God willing, it happens, but
right.
I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. And
right.
And we're not saying that they're going to, but
no.
It's that what if sort of scenario because
we don't get to talk until after the game anyway. So,
exactly. We're not going to be able to, like, I want to get that out there just that way. If they did win, we can talk about, was it really the culture changer? Because who knows?
If not, we cut it off out of the show.
Yeah, we can always do that. We can always
well,
do
and
that.
the thing is too is that even if they don't win, the way that this team has been structured, it doesn't seem like a fluke.
No,
it seems we've gone through a pretty structured rebuilding, and I think and like you said earlier in the show, as much crap as we've given the Haslams for some of the stuff that's happened.
Sure.
It really seems like they're taking this more seriously. I mean, maybe it seemed in the beginning that they didn't, like, oh, we own a team, yay! And now it's like, oh wait, we need to build this. This is something that we have to actually work at and build. And I think that they've done that.
I don't want to say, like, I don't want to. If you think that's fine. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to think. I think that the Haslams have been over dedicated in the sense that they try too hard. They listen to the fans, and you shouldn't do that.
No.
There's an old saying: if you listen to the fans, you're going to be sitting with the fans.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you own the team, you don't have to. But the issue is that if you do that too much, if you don't listen to the smart people around you, that's whenever you start having issues. And I think Jimmy and Dee just tried too hard at the beginning to be a Clevelander, like they're from Tennessee, they love the Tennessee Volunteers. They don't give a damn,
right.
but they do care about this team. They do care about the city. They love the city. Jimmy and Dee give so much money out to the city, and it's not just like, oh, here's the money, whatever. Like, they dedicate their time and effort to the city of Cleveland, and God bless them for it, because the city's a better city with Jimmy and Dee in there, in here. But I just think that they tried too hard at the beginning. They finally listened to the smart people around there, and Paul D. Podesta, which we always ripped on before, but like the dude was absolutely right. You got to get Kevin Stefanski in here, and then it's been just great ever since. So we finally have the setup going right, and I think that they just tried too hard in the beginning.
I'll just say, hindsight being 2020, you're right about that.
Yeah.
They always went for that quick fix for that flash in the pan instead of what the Indians have kind of showed you. And Paul D. Podesta coming from baseball.
Yeah.
When the Indians are competing, they make moves to compete that year, but also with the eye to the future to try to sustain that success for as long as they can and keep that window open for as long as they can.
Right.
Looks like the Haslams have finally found that mold. The Cavs won their championship because you got the transcendent player, the once in a.
It's not bad whenever you have like the number one greatest athlete of all time. It's not bad.
Yes, but so like exception to the rule, but I'll take a championship anywhere I can get it.
Anywhere, man.
But again, the Indians have kind of showed the mold as much as we maybe harp on the Dolans and the Haslams. They showed the mold from a front office standpoint. Haslam set up that front office structure to now put those pieces in place for that possible sustained success over the years.
Agreed.
Browns fans, it's going to be a big week. Enjoy it and be ready. Browns fans, Browns Nation, Browns Twitter, wherever you are, here in Ohio, Northeast Ohio, around the country, around the world, wherever you are, this is going to be a big week. And while we may not be able to be there, or any of us be able to be there, they feel our energy, like I said last week. Bring it all week long into whatever game time, whatever game day we get. Let's go get those Steelers. Let's beat them and build to something very, very special. Boy, does it feel so good today.
So good.
Not just a Victory Monday. It just has so much more on it.
It does.
And you know what? To top it all off, even though it started it and you can't ice a cake before you actually make it, it feels like icing on the cake now.
Yeah.
The Buckeyes beating Clemson, beating Dabo Swinney. 11th best team in the country, you say there, Dabo. You don't regret your decision to rank them 11th in the country, Dabo. Would you say you're 12th
right.
or 13th? Just anytime you want to give or downplay Ohio State, just remember, in the state of Ohio, we play on being the underdog. And if you're at Ohio State, you do that very, very well.
Ohio against the world.
Ohio versus everybody, Ohio against the world. It's like that all the time. It's not just a t-shirt. It's a mantra. It's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle.
I know you had to love that game too, Paul.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you drop over 600 yards on Clemson on a solid defense, on a great Brett Venable defense, okay?
Oh, God, I heard that name so many times.
Oh, my God, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Come on, Kirk.
But
Come on, Kirk.
Yeah, exactly. We saw the greatest Ohio State quarterback performance of all time. Easily. In the moment of everything that was going on, you were a underdog going into that game. I know what Cardale did, was special. I mean, because no one saw it coming. And we more so expected Justin Fields to be on this sort of production level, but to do it against who might be touted as the greatest college quarterback of all time, one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time, to do it against him and not even go like haymaker for haymaker. You knocked him out.
Yeah.
6 touchdowns. You had the 1 interception. That happens. Okay. 6 touchdowns to 6 incompletions. You went 22 of 28. Ridiculous. 385 yards. Dimes on dimes on dimes. He got his. Now I don't know if his ribs are broken or anything like that.
Yeah,
they looked broken. They would have broken my ribs. I guarantee you. If I'd taken that shot, I'm done forever. Like you can just throw me in the casket right then and there. But I mean, what he did, what Justin Fields did to that Clemson defense and to Dabo, like did him so dirty. Like he's gonna need like 59 showers in order to wash that all off. Okay. Not only him, but Trey Sermon and Chris Olave. God bless him. Like, thank God. He was a 2-star recruit.
Smoothest dude on the field, man.
Easily. He was a 2-star recruit. This is how good our development is, and this is why Michigan sucks.
Brian Hartline.
Because, we have the coaches that can recruit, but they develop them. Like you look at someone, Donovan Peoples-Jones, okay, who was a fantastic, I think, #1 wide receiver coming out of high school, and he goes to Michigan, and Jim Harbaugh couldn't develop him into a star that he should have been. He should have been drafted in the first round. We got him in the 6th. All of the talent was there. They just never used him right. Okay. We know how to scheme up our players. We know how to develop our players. Chris Olave went from a 2-star athlete into probably a first-round wide receiver. That's unbelievable. We did them so dirty the other night that it gives me the most confidence that I've ever had with this Buckeyes team. Now, you are going up against Alabama now, okay, which their offense is, once again, Mac Jones and Devontae Smith and Najee Harris. I mean, on and on and on. Those guys are great, and their offensive line is pretty solid too.
They hit you quick.
But that defense is suspect at best. They are 77th against the pass. We just threw for 385 yards against a solid Clemson defense. I mean, the over-under is set at 76. There's going to be a lot of points scored, come Monday night on the 11th. I can't wait for it.
And we'll preview that game in our next show.
Yes,
we're not going to do that right now. We got time since
just a little teaser.
Little teaser.
Yeah.
Peter,
I gotta hear what Peter has to say. Peter's the biggest Ohio State fan you will ever meet, so I can't wait for this.
So, and just behind the curtain, those that you can't see, Peter, Paulus and I, you've seen us wear our Browns gear, Indians, Cavs, Buckeyes, like we've worn it all.
Yeah, he has a Buckeye shirt underneath.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it. I knew it.
I've seen Peter wear an Indian shirt maybe once or twice. Yeah. Every other show, if he's wearing Ohio gear, sports gear, it's Ohio State.
No doubt.
Peter, the floor is yours.
Well, that game, honestly, going into it, I was a little nervous because,
sure,
any big game, we've had Ohio State be ranked, in the top, and they stumble, and with COVID and everything else going on, you're sitting there going, who's gonna, what's gonna happen? How are things gonna play out?
Yeah.
Wow, it's not what I expected. I expected a much closer game than that. And to your point, Nick, you said, well, he had the one interception. Well, if he wouldn't have had his hand hit, he would have had 7 touchdowns.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was just an insane performance by the Buckeyes. And you could see Trevor Lawrence, he didn't know what the hell hit him.
No.
Because he's not used to getting hit like that. And,
not at all.
And he got hit.
Yeah.
And he got hit hard. And probably to me, it's one of the funniest things is when he fumbled the ball and he lands and he just puts his hand on it like
that
doesn't count. Right. It's like we know you're Clemson, but they're not going to give that to you. So
did you see Browning hit him? It wasn't a quarterback
like a read option.
Yeah, it was like a read option. He faked the run, so he starts running, and Browning just knocked him out. And he's like, "What?" He gets up like that, but it's like, dude, you act as a runner. You are no longer a quarterback.
Right? Exactly. And it was, again, I've got Jacob into football here,
yeah.
So we were up late watching that game, and it was, I'm on the edge of my seat, just like, holy crap, and I'm like. One of the things that I always look at is, I try to compare teams, and you always do that.
Yeah.
And I look at so you had Notre Dame, was number 4. So
sorry, Grandpa.
Clemson beat them. What was the score? 31-7.
Something like that. And then they lost to him at the beginning of the year. So
right,
but that was without Trev.
Yeah.
So
and then Alabama beat them 31-14.
I think it was 38-14.
38-14
is what it came out to.
So the number 1 and number 2 teams, both played Notre Dame. They beat Notre Dame 31-38 to something.
Right.
We just clobbered the crap out of Clemson
by 21.
By 21. And on it, and it could have been 28.
Yeah.
Easily. And you look at that and go, we have a really good chance. And that over under. That's
I'm
it's
telling
going to
you,
be a lot of points scored.
Go over. I know 76 is a lot of points, but I'm telling you, we're looking at 40 burgers for both of these guys,
Right.
for both these teams.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see how the Buckeye defense steps up, because they are.
Sean Wade got destroyed, and I'm terrified to see what he does to Devontae Smith. And Devontae is going to win the Heisman. It's going to be a lot, and we need Sean Wade to step up more than anything else.
Secondary help seems to
Right?
be, seems to be the only downer of the night.
Can Denzel go back and play both games? Can he go back and play for the Buckeyes, and then I guess it'd be the Browns and then the Buckeyes. Therefore, so
Browns are going to play
back to back. Can you do that, Denz? Can you do that for us, man?
NCAA, does Denzel have any?
He's got some eligibility left. Yeah. Well, he did sign an agent, but whatever.
He did sign a pro contract,
but it's COVID. All the rules are out the window.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Big Ten's changing all the rules. Why
not? Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is, with Justin Fields, you look at that performance and you're like, the Heisman stuff, where it's like, he didn't have enough games.
So I real quick before we get your answer, you know what? I want to get your answer because then I want a roundtable discussion on something else.
I got you.
Real quick.
We talked about culture with the Browns, and they're trying to build it, and I think we've talked about this before, but we know what the culture already established at Ohio State is. It's championship or bust. That's what you recruit for. That's what you go out there and play for. If you're given the opportunity, that's what you go out there and play for. So not just winning a semifinal game, but winning it all.
Yeah.
And it's a tough test against Alabama. I'm concerned about the secondary. And I also know that I was hard on this team during the year, and especially on this defense, for some of their bad habits.
Mm-hmm.
Those bad habits almost cost them the chance to be in this game. But I know that they've had that score on the board, not just the clock playing the team up north, counting down to that game, the game every single year. But you see that workout with Justin Fields and that score behind him, and I know it's all around the field house and the workout areas or whenever they go around campus, it's all around them. So you may have been preparing for that game somehow, some way you thought you're going to play Clemson this year, preparing for that all year long. Great. You got that done. You found something, especially in that game, because, you were up at halftime by 21. You didn't allow that lead to condense by the time the game ended, but you also didn't relent. You didn't relent. You played, while it's not silver bullet defense, there are elements of that they found, confidence that they built, speed that they found up front in that front seven. Find a way to scheme in the back end, shore up some secondary issues. You know the offense is going to be able to score. Go get it on Monday night. Who cares about roll whatever?
Right.
To roll all over the Tide and force them to maybe use some Tide detergent to clean up those uniforms and clean up their pride after that game.
There you go.
But I'm, again, not picking or saying they're going to win.
Yeah.
Ohio State, it's championship or bust every single year. You won your game. That's great. You had all the jokes after that game. You better be moved on to the tape, the preparation for Alabama, as I know they are. Get to work. Try to go get that championship.
Okay, rapid fire react.
All right, I'm ready.
Possibility of Urban Meyer being the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Go.
Good chance. I think does he live down in Florida?
He lived down there.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's
he's used to that area. I guess like Sting back in the WCW days, you never say never.
Sure.
You never, or
now
you don't know what to expect with Sting or something. I don't know what he says. I forget. It's been a while.
You're making up stuff now.
Yeah, but Urban Meyer,
right?
You never say no.
Sure. Now,
I think there's a good chance, but it depends on his health.
I think that's all made up. Honestly,
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I think that there probably was health issues, but like I think it's just the stress of the nature of everything. He's gonna want full autonomy of the franchise. Like he's gonna want to be the GM, and and we've seen that backfire on a couple of people before. Bill O'Brien. But I don't know if it's a good idea for him because I just there's just some guys that are just college coaches.
Yeah.
Nick Saban wasn't a good pro coach. He just wasn't. I mean, he's as a coordinator, he was phenomenal. He was actually a Browns defensive coordinator back whenever the last time that we were in the playoffs back in '94. But I just don't see him being a great fit as a pro coach. But if he were, and once again, second rapid fire question, they have the number 1 pick. Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence.
Ooh, well, I think it's still Trevor because Justin Fields is not Urban Meyer's guy. While he's around that program, knows the program.
Sure.
Justin Fields is Ryan Day's guy, not Urban Meyer. He wasn't around him enough to know, so I would still put it at Trevor.
I would have to put it at Trevor, but I would think I'm disappointed with that. I think Justin's done a lot to prove that he could deserve that.
Absolutely.
But I'd rather not see.
I think Monday can change that conversation even more so, though.
That's a good point.
The gap closed. Monday will change that conversation.
I'm calling my shot right now.
Yep.
If Urban does become the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach, he will select Justin Fields as the number 1 pick. And it will be a landmark decision that will,
it'll make or break.
It will make or break him because if Trevor Lawrence is on the board for number 2, I know Sam Darnold and the Jets, and they were like, oh, you know what, we're going to keep Sam. We're going to keep Sam. They will throw him to the Gators, in order to get Trevor Lawrence, at that point in time. And think about that. Jets end up winning 2 games, that they probably shouldn't have won in order to get Trevor Lawrence, and then they end up getting Trevor Lawrence. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's like I guess turns into a draft day movie scenario where
It really does.
it's like Bo. What is his name?
Bo Callahan.
And then Seattle's like he
didn't go to his party.
Didn't go to his party or whatever.
Just wasn't popular with his teammates.
I don't know. I mean, and you talk about Urban Meyer. If he does take on an NFL job, as a big Urban Meyer and appreciating what he did for Ohio State, you hope he's the exception to the rule because,
of course,
because what I see it as is most great college coaches can turn boys into men.
Yes.
If you are going to succeed in the NFL, you have to be able to turn men into legends. If Urban Meyer can do that, there's college legends.
Sure.
But you go full legend when you do it. And
it's a lot different whenever the players are getting paid, actually getting paid, because in college, they still get paid. But it's a lot different whenever you get paid millions.
And that's why it's harder to establish a culture. So Kevin Stefanski being able to resonate with his players and get them to buy into what he's saying is huge. If Urban Meyer does that, can not just turn boys into men, but men into legends.
Yeah.
He goes exponential legends beyond.
You're talking greatest coach of all time. Because if he has 3 national titles, in college, if he goes to the pros and even just succeeds, I'm not talking win a Super Bowl, but goes to the playoffs a couple of times, probably greatest coach of all time. You're right up there. You have to put him there.
Boy, this is fun.
This was a good one.
This was fun.
This flew by.
It did. And just looking at the time, I mean, we're way past. But it feels good. It's good to have these moments in a football state, in a football town, to have a weekend like we just did, and to have moments next weekend into Monday that we get to kind of witness. That is what this state and this fan base and this whole entire OHIO is all about. Browns fans, get ready. I mentioned it. All around the world. Jump on whatever bandwagon, whatever hashtag you want to get going, however you want to spread the joy, spread the energy. Let's all come together. There's no arguing. There's no, is Baker the guy? Is he not? Is why didn't Stefanski feed Chubb? No arguing about anything. We are all one. Feed your energy to this team who can go into Pittsburgh, has a chance for a legendary moment themselves. either Saturday or Sunday. And there's only one way to really end this podcast or this show here tonight. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. O-H.
Ow!
Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of The Voice of the Land. Remember, you can always catch it on replay on all the platforms, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Sportscaster, and Google, Spotify, and Apple for the audio. For my Browns brother, Nick Paulus, and our producer extraordinaire, always loving the brown and orange, Peter Tellup, I am Kevin Arnold, reminding all of you Browns fans and sports fans everywhere, the party is just getting started. Don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. And we love you all. 3,000. We will see you all next week.